excuse me, is on EnVy. And we're jumping into it now with Mitch and Lauren.
Thank you very much, guys. Good on you, Chad. Don't hold back, mate. It's what we want to hear. This is going to be an interesting one here. Mousesports now, they talked about it on the desk, an upset team, now actually looking really, really good. Third place in the Pro League. I think they're 7-5 in games,
yeah,
so that's a pretty darn good record to be at this stage of things. This is one of the first times the Mouse have been like, playoffs are a legitimate and probably quite probable solution for us this season.
And they actually have a very good track record head-to-head against EnVy. I think it's around 6-6 at the moment, or in recent events, consistently back and forth. They were in a really good run during ECS against them. So yeah, actually not a bad matchup for Mousesports coming into this. They're in a good place technically, but there has been that discussion on the desk of things changing, new coach roles coming in, maybe going to affect things here. Might be able to see those first pieces of impact, but obviously it takes time to see that coming through. And EnVy, you never know with EnVy, because you saw them not too long ago, obviously. Highs and lows, again, individuals having big moments, and always it's Apex who's very vocal about this sort of stuff, and his consistency was brought up, and I think he's one of those players who has one of the highest highs. When he has those big entry games, everything works off the back, but you can't always get that done.
No, I mean, EnVyUs had a middling performance at the SLTV finals, and then they literally bunny bashed themselves out of the group. They managed to get there. I think they almost lost to VG, to be honest with you. One of those games, they lost a dumb anti-eco round, and VG actually snuck back in. So they were fortunate to even get out of groups, and then they got smashed by G2 afterwards. Mousesports, though, took FaZe to the task last night. It was impressive. We talked about it earlier in the show. 9 rounds for FaZe over the whole series. So this is a team looking a lot stronger now, but EnVyUs here on the T side on the pistols.
So keep your eyes on Happy as well. This is something that obviously Chad on the desk wanted to bring up. Keep your eye on it throughout this game. He is playing in mid right now. The best he can hope for is to cut off that rotate, do some damage on the way through, but so far his team's being relatively, well, they were being successful. Chris J just says a big fat no to that, thank you very much. And at this point, Happy's finally coming into it. Now he's on the lurk, but doesn't really get much done there. He timed it pretty well. He could have caught maybe 1-2 in the heels, but now the rest of Mousesports are focusing towards the site. There was a little bit of worry of what was behind them, but they know that at the end of the day, the bomb's on B, and that's where the trouble's mostly coming from.
And the Deagle still in play here for NBK, although he's very, very low. Devil has to go for a very passive bomb plant, of course, now with Mouse encroaching on this B side very closely. Nico does have a flash, so there is a little bit to enter the site with, and we'll probably expect to see that come out in a few moments as Spitty, Oscar and Nico have already made the one towards the site. It's going to be Oscar opens up against NBK. Nico finds Happy, and then he gets on towards Devil as well. We watched Oscar as he walked on in, but it was Nico cleaning up nicely there towards the end. Didn't even bother to use the flash there.
Nico brings so much power to a lineup for retakes like that, because they had so little to actually play retake on. It's very tough to come back into the B site when you don't have any sort of flashes or, lock down one position. Let's say, let's make the assumption that you don't have B tunnels with a CT player there. You have to just play purely from the door and the window. It's so difficult to come back through that. Very, very tricky. So, yeah, well done to Mousesports for pulling that off. And we're seeing some good performances between the likes of Chris J and Nico so far. So this is good for them, good news. However, on the other side of things, let's look at what EnVy are bringing in. It's kind of the Deagle and Scout combo, tag with one, kill with the other. Easy stuff, really, at this point. A couple of smokes as well, so we could see maybe an A piece coming through here. Could be really, really good. Maybe a smoke down towards CT or one towards site. Let's see how they build this one up. So they've got plenty of options.
Yeah, I mean, Dennis did take a tag there as he crossed early in the round, so a bit of an advantage there for EnVyUs to work on. NBK goes first with the scout, gets cut down by Oscar pretty quickly, though, as well. A bit of a jump attempt, a running boost perhaps from Apex, but it gets him nowhere. It's going to be Nico to shut him down, and this is a scary, scary combo to have over on this side. Oscar and Nico, and even Spitty being drawn in as an auxiliary, but he's not even needed. It will be Kenny, the last man to fall, as Oscar shuts him right out of the picture. EnVyUs thought they could run up short and create an opportunity. There was none to be had.
No, not at all. And I kind of wish there was maybe a couple more flashes there, force those players on the sites to be not so brazen while facing. But of course, coming in, I assume it's technical at this point. Yeah, there'd be absolutely no reason to go for a timeout at this point if it was a tactical element. So yeah, this is interesting enough. Oh, wow, that's a very easy way of showing it. I wonder what's happening there, but hey-ho, Silva, we'll move on from that. But a bit unfortunate, but hopefully they can recover and sort this one out because, yeah, this is a close game normally, so you don't have external influence.
Yeah. We've talked about Mousesports, obviously, with some interesting performances, with some strong performances on Dust2 in the past. Last night was 16-6. This one I find very interesting. We jumped into the lobby, Lauren, and we saw on the EnVyUs side a individual named NKJ. NKJ has a bit of a history with quite a lot of Germany. Was he the Penta coach or was he the Mousesports?
He's been in Mousesports before.
That's right.
He's certainly been around the block. There's no two ways of saying that. He's been around the German scene for quite some time. So actually an interesting matchup because I think he's I don't know if he's an active coach for EnVy or if he's more of a kind of analysis role, you know, the guys who kind of sit there, go through the demos and such, but he certainly has a place within Envy at the moment. I'm trying to find out what it officially is. Yeah, so analyst for EnVyUs. So, but him being on the server,
he was the
implies,
mouse coach before Cassard, wasn't he?
I think so, yeah. I'm pretty sure he was. So I'm pretty sure the fact here is that he's kind of coaching Envy in the server, so that tells you enough at this point, unless he's just trying to gather data on it, build something out of it. Not too sure, but you'd make the assumption that maybe he's a little involved in this. So curious to see what he brings through this one. I'm not sure when that became public knowledge, if it has or not. Again, curious to see what happens there. But for him, brilliant knowledge coming back into this, because obviously old team there.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of known. I mean, if you look at NKJ's Twitter, it does say.
Oh yeah, it's not subtle.
But yeah, okay, bring him in at this point. Well, to be fair, Devil has had a rough couple of games. His performance at the Starlighter Finals was less than sterling, I'll put it that way. It was a 16-14 result on Dust2 between EnVyUs and Vici Gaming Cyberzen. So a close one, not great. Really very much a middling performance from the Frenchman. So
just so you guys at home know, at this moment, I'm pretty sure we've got confirmation that NKJ is going to have to step in right now because of Devil's issues. So Envy... not great. Now, NKJ, to be fair, is probably a closer active player than most other coaches, let's be honest, but not to the Tier 1 scene. And what a way to put yourself in such a bad mindset very early on.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost as if they knew there might be some problems there with Devil's internet. But, I mean, let's go on now as well. We do have EnVyUs making their way. Oh, hello, Oscar, wake up. Sunshine, at least he's able to return a little bit of damage on towards NBK there. A lot, and I think is going to take him low. A grenade normally would finish him off in standard situations, but NBK getting shepherded to the back of the pack. As we do see EnVyUs attempt to set up a bit of a run boost here. Apex goes across, not going to work out yet again. It's going to be a shooting gallery here for Oscar and Nico. The one side that you really don't want to test, given just the pure power of the players that are stood upon it for Mousesports. But EnVyUs try again and get very, very little. A quiet 3 rounds for the Frenchman thus far. They'll buy in, but not with a heck of a lot to work with.
No, they are. They've got enough. They'll be.
I mean, NK didn't get to play the first couple of rounds, so he doesn't get. It's not like he gets the money from Devil. No. Yeah.
Which is unfortunate, but we'll see what he can do here. This is again very, very sad to see, because Envy and Mousesports have such a good series together. But I'll get over it. I'll move on, and we're going to see the mid pinch come out basically from Envy 3 through lowers. So basically clearing, making the assumption, or working off the fact that it would be very hard for someone to push into those B tiles early, cuts that off. It gives them some control. They leave NKJ just to watch it, keep some sort of check on it, while the rest push up through mid. They had control by Xbox, get up on short, and actually it's a clean A site. That's the best thing here for them. But the fact is there's still 2 players on long who can cause troubles, and well, we'll see if they actually fall into the trap here. Yeah,
I mean, it was Mousesports obviously who hoped for a little bit of aggression or a short stop play over it long just to shut down the gun buy for EnVyUs. But now they've had time to sort of drift back, the Mousesports guys, that is. Nico's going to get himself up on the site, and Oscar will be very much in the same position. So no harm, no foul really with Mousesports when they go for the gambit at the start of the round, and obviously no one's presenting. And this is EnVyUs now setting up. You see that, yeah, now they're going to get rid of a bit of that utility. I don't even know what they've got incendiary-wise here, or Molotov-wise in this case. Probably not a lot, actually, if I'm not mistaken. Oscar, though, has one. Going to send it back. We see Apex quickly drop in towards CT. That goes unbeknownst to Mousesports at this stage.
Oh,
as now he's going to peek it, though. It's going to be Nico right there. A little bit of a change in position from him, but these 2 guys are just making an absolute meal of it, getting plenty of frags in, but Apex with a quick double. This could be big now. He gets on towards Nico. That's 3 for the man. Working his way in towards CT, then slowly up towards the site, has shut down the Mousesports presence over on this A side. And it's going to be Chris J and Dennis now forced to salvage.
That was absolutely sick from Apex. That was a round 1 by Mousesports, and he just turned it on his head. That shot towards pit at long, I don't know how he hit it. I'd love to see it from his perspective, but what a moment. Happy absolutely whiffs that one. Not great from him. Maybe a bit of a slow start. Apex going to pick up the challenge, and, well, he falls as well. This is looking a little bit more and more likely for Mousesports, but it's a long run. They only have 1 kit. It's on Dennis. The HP's not perfect, and Kenny S certainly capable with the rifle as well as that AWP. He's fending it off well, and Chris J turns tail and runs out.
Yeah, that was definitely the straw that breaks the camel's back there, that last kill going in. Obviously, both those Mousesports players traded a considerable amount of their HP to actually have access to long in the first place with the battles that they took. So they have to be satisfied with that, and holding on to an AK here for Chris J is definitely not, well, not terrible. A decent amount of money built up here for Mousesports, as there were clean rounds for them. Not many guns had to be rebought in the early stages. They were able to coast through with sort of what they bought up in that second round. So no harm, no foul. Again for them here, Oscar spends over 7K just to re-equip his team, and it could be a heck of a lot worse here for the Germans.
We've got the AWP out now for Oscar, so that's quite a thrilling factor now that could change things. But Envy going for a very big B presence. I'm not sure if they're going to leave 2 upper and then split maybe B We'll see. We've got one left in upper, so I think that's just NKJ probably playing that kind of filler role. Quick smoke towards mid. Not going to be doing the set piece over the top or anything like that. Just want to go into this one, and now Nico's going to take the chance. Good flash came in from B, but he only does damage. Doesn't get the kills. Tries to sub his teammate, but that's not worked out either. It's down to Christian to hold those several fronts being attacked on by Envy here. And look at that HP. Apex is low. Kenny is low. It's basically down to Happy, and that's gone awfully.
Not well at all. I mean, one nade would claim the life of the last two EnVyUs players here, and they split themselves. It'll be Kenny studiously sitting up on that site just around the corner there, as you can see via Spitty. And the flash comes in, the nade to follow up. That's taken a big chunk of health out of him, but Oscar also can be a threat. He will test from the double doors. And Kenny S just has to wait. Flash comes in, he turns it quite nicely. Molotov at his feet from his teammate. Oh, okay, Oscar came in from the side, that's fine. Apex there, I thought for some reason he Molotov that one. Not the case. And now Oscar going to get the defuse as well. Quick correction, guys. Mousesports are not German anymore. We can't really call them that, despite us having the flag up there. Definitely a bit more of a mix of players, but a bit of a messy one there. And still Mousesports take the round away. And with a little bit of buffer of money that they had here, it's not as if anyone has to go rather skin into this one.
They'll survive.
I don't know. I thought I saw the Molotov Tracer come across from tunnels there. It was a bit weird, but nevertheless,
Sure.
It wasn't a team molly. It's okay.
No. It's all right. So Envy's now their money pretty low here. Let's be honest. And I'm kind of worried about the duels they're taking on occasion. I hate to say it, but Happy not having a great game so far. You can always excuse him for being the last alive on the lurk, etc., when he's hitting these shots and. Oh, Oscar, you don't miss those, come on. And now look at it, here comes the exploit. Just Apex gonna barrel in there, takes away the orb, but oh my word, Kenny finds Nico. A little bit of justice given back towards Nico, the dastardly deagler. Now 3 left alive for Mousesports.
And Dennis will be one to test here from CT. Needs to connect his first few shots, but EnVy just shuts him down there. Nicely done. A lot of kills being spread over EnVyUs here, and the Deagles are coming up trumps. Spitty able to try and control this one. Maybe put a lid on the action over on the A side from long, but he takes a big tag himself. Chris J, this is a compromising position to say the very least.
Oh,
and NKJ, back at his own teammate. That's going to be very juicy. And Spitty also falls to his hand. Interesting by EnVyUs, and they're not the round you want to lose to these guys at all. It's going to give EnVyUs a feeling they can get away with murder again.
It's reset the money really badly for Mouse as well. Oh, what a way for it to happen. What a way.
Isn't that the CS nightmare, really, to be reset in this manner?
And we've discussed this before. It's such a common factor on this map. The CT side on Dust2 is so punishing money-wise. You need so much utility, and you need so much invested as a CT to be able to hold back those Ts. But here we go. Let's see what goes down here, because we do have that kind of... I wouldn't say a default from Envy, but they seem to be approaching this round knowing this is anti-eco. Apex, you got to be careful. There is players with him, so he can trade if required. He can back off and leave it to NKJ. Lovely work between those two there. And I like this kind of pairing up, being a bit cautious. Happy's alone, and Happy gets punished. What on earth is this? Where was his teammates? Why was he all alone there? Just no one else helped him once he got flashed. MBK will keep it together, but still. Got to be a little cautious on those. That could have been a little bit more dangerous. Look at the HP there. A couple more shots hit. That could have been rifles away. But they save, enough. They can kind of invest into this one. Drop guns over to Happy and start all over again.
Maybe a solid, well, maybe a bit of Happy's well-known solitary tendencies coming to fore there.
The one thing is, Chad's been awful with his predictions and, all this sort of stuff. He's been off the mark.
Right.
But he calls out Happy, and Happy is 0 to 6. So
yeah, more than that, there's an observable trend from Happy towards sort of playing on his own. Remember that lurk through mid, I think in the pistol was way too slow.
No, don't face Nico like this. I always get nervous when anyone faces him like that.
Well, he doesn't get away with this round, but Spitty, however, seems to be just outdoing his teammate there in that case. And even Chris J gets a kill. Oscar coming in from top mid, not bad. He gets 1 kill. That's more than enough because it opens it up for Spitty to come through. And EnVyUs, the pendulum swings back and forth. They lose that anti-eco round in Mousesports. A grin from ear to ear, no doubt about it. Plenty of money to work with here. They would have already been able to buy this round regardless, but a little bit of extra definitely not going to hurt. And the double AWP comes in.
Dust2, man.
Is this even real life?
Dust2.
No, Dust2 just losing eco around.
The one thing is that Envy used to be such a classic team. Nice connection there towards Dance. That can open up opportunities. They used to be such a good team at not losing to those sort of rounds. In my eyes, it was always like Cash I go back to mentally, where they had that beautiful B take with all those mollies. A really, crisp team on that sort of thing. But there we are. Times change. It's only been a long time away since those sort of results, but let's have a look as to what Envy are up to here. So far, they've kind of done what they've done before, so we'll be leaving NKJ towards the top of those B tunnels, maybe just see if anyone pushes in. They can take cat control. They'll have to fight for this time, though. Oscar was there holding the peak, and he doesn't land the shot. Here comes the punish, right in the heels. He does manage to actually get away from that. Finally, the flash came in. But my word, he is lucky to be alive. 32 HP on Oscar, 17 on Dennis.
Given EnVyUs' tendency to flash short and drop a player down to CT, Oscar needs to think about his positioning a bit more, because that's obviously fairly aggressive setup for a first peak. But if you're playing against a team that will drop into CT when they get the advantage, then Oscar's going to have an EnVyUs player on top of him every time he misses that first shot, and sometimes maybe even if he doesn't. Now at least he's had a chance to step back. He's going to go with the Molotov over towards short, but this won't stop EnVyUs. The player there dropping into CT yet again. It's Apex as per usual. Oscar now sport for choice and misses that crucial shot there as players cross to the side, and he's going to get taken down. Not a great start from him thus far. Nico forced to try and do the barrel dance, and no one likes that one. Lee Spitty, who's been remarkably consistent here in sort of covering up his teammates' minor errors, will eventually go down to Kenny S.
Has Happy got a kill yet? I'll come back to that in a sec. I'm kind of curious.
You're right.
He's on 0-7, if not more, which is the happiest thing I've ever seen if it happens. Chris J does find Kenny, but I don't think you can really go for this one. The amount of utility that Mousesports have right now and the AWP on top, you really should be saving this one. Already you've got Dennis backing away from it. NKJ and Happy can stay alive at this point. That's fine. Like you don't need to be doing that. So
it's
just
already,
back off. Yes, Happy. It's not Bond. It's not Bond. But it's close enough that's going to make me happy.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Chris J there, it's remarkably oppressive to play from CT with nothing but an AWP and 20 health. I mean, the slightest flatulence from EnVyUs would kill you at that stage. So it's reasonable to back away. And yeah, I mean, we can talk about it. Happy having a bit of a quiet one here. Not many opportunities being open to. Unfortunately enough, like it's not a huge deal because Apex dropping into CT in these rounds is really making a big impact for EnVyUs. And we used to see this always. We used to see like the mid to B or this drop into CT and even rotate through. It's quite nice, and no tag this time for Kenny.
Yeah, and I'm waiting to see Oscar come into his own. He had a good start to this game, I feel, but he's just kind of been average, and that's weird for Oscar. I don't know why, but I always kind of, you look at him like he was meant to be the, not support player, but, he was meant to be on par to Nico, right? Those two are meant to bounce off each other. You get this crazy AWP coming in. Nico's this, sick rifler, Nico's pretty much everything, let's be honest. But he was meant to be another superstar coming in, right? And so far, he's not had a big game. It's still early days.
I mean, he's 9 and 5. Is this it? Every time we watch him, he misses a first peek on towards short, and then is forced to back away. So, yeah, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt here.
There we go. I actually prefer him taking these angles as well. For me, I don't like... So far, he's absolutely whiffed a good couple, playing from a little bit further back on Cat, and then has to back away, kind of gets caught out a little bit, kind of got overrun on cars. But it's nice to see him switching it up here. He's not just got bogged down playing that one angle.
Nico was also there to guarantee a trade or at least some sort of result for Mousesports, even if that first shot missed and it's still sort of flashed. So there's always the element of surprise. Nico can easily spray 2 down from that position if no one's expecting him there. So that's... well, I mean, we're not going to see that really put to the test anyway, but just something to think about. Big nade on towards EnVyUs there. That one really hurt. Thrown in onto towards 3 players, and the Mollies is going to force their hand, no doubt about it. Dennis in pole position right now. It's going to be Chris J to come in to get those quick couple of kills. Mousesports lock it on down, and this time Oscar getting 2 for the round.
Yeah, that contact play B was just average. I kind of like the way they jump out of the tunnel. It's kind of a little quirkiness to it, but that little bit of a crossfire set between Chris J and Dennis was just perfect for that, and then Happy having no influence. And this, again, is the active and the passive kind of conversation that's certainly going to happen after this, I can imagine. This is a very prime example of it. It doesn't normally go to these sort of extremes. Let's be real. Happy is a beast normally, but, the active...
He actually had a really good time in Kiev,
Exactly. That's the thing. Like, it's no discredit to him. He's just having a bad game, but it really highlights some of, I can imagine, the issues that people may have with that game style that happens. But let's see what happens into this round, because at the moment, only MBK has the armor to supplement that deagle, so that can't be seen as too much of a threat here. But then again, the last couple of rounds have swung back and forth. There's been these kind of... Oscar, what are you doing? Like, don't get me wrong. I love a good bit of, swag-tacular play, but there we go. Locks it down, denies 2. No one gets that peak on A.
Oscar he rotated really fast to the mid, though. Credit to him, because he misses a shot in mid and then just immediately feels out this A push, probably because of a presence on short from EnVyUs. So I think he was still getting in a position at the time, but Dennis goes down. He peeks through the double doors at B for just a second, and it's enough for Kenny S to put one between his eyes. And now Chris J, for the moment, will be on his own. He's not isolated because Nico can come through ramp if he needs to do that. But Chris J, a fair bit going to be on his shoulders. He's been rifling really well lately, gets himself one, but Kenny S comes in with the deagle to finish the job. A very good result here for EnVyUs thus far in the round, and Happy's managed to salvage himself an AK. It's just Nico right now who's set up. He doesn't have utility. That's all on Oscar and Spitty at this stage. So he might just stay patient, or why not just going for the play? Unfortunately, it doesn't work out. A little bit cavalier from him, but Oscar still manages to trade out and finds Happy.
Yeah, it's all down to Kenny S. Not going to make that one happen. open and an easy retake coming through now. And the defuse is going to come out as well. So Oscar finally starting to wake up. This is what I wanted to see. And Mousesports do get to break ahead a little bit, maybe start building those rounds, because these back and forth rounds are awful for money for the CT side. You know,
Absolutely.
That's how you start really starting to dwindle. But they've got good buffer here now. They've up to 10k on Chris J. He's been a shining beacon on that B site so consistently. But now they can stabilize a little bit, just calm it down. Look at those back and forth rounds. Half of them were on deagles, you know, crazy sort of stuff. Now they can chill a bit and hopefully get into the stride of things and close this out a really good half.
Yeah, and I mean, that score distribution is kind of what you want to see on Mousesports, by the way, with Oscar, Chris J, and Nico doing a lot of the lifting, and Dennis and Spitty, you know, supporting where they can. Oscar now is 15 kills, so, I mean, after 12 rounds, you don't really sniff at that kind of result. He's going to go for an early peak here, though. Now, he created great opportunities just on pistols, actually, just flanking around towards top mid. I doubt we'll see him go more aggressive in this case. He's got Spitty there, at least for the trade. And obviously this leaves Nico in mid, and leaves A a little bit bare like we saw previously. But last time this situation happened, EnVyUs were too slow to execute to that A site. This time, it looks like it might be a little bit quicker. You see Oscar's already hot-footing it straight down long. And Nico will have to come from CT. So not great defensive positions here for Mousesports over on this A site.
The thing is that Spitty can't really flash for Oscar right now. That could have been a really nice kind of play back-to-back on this. And Apex, what a beast, just finds Nico away in CT. And they're going to split mid from this. They go straight towards B, hammer it up there, but Chris J and Dennis have been locking this one down.
Yeah, and Chris J now as well. Going to have a lot of targets presenting themselves. He only gets himself 1 kill, and MBK gets 2 for his troubles. Spitty is rotating quite a long way around here, so it's going to be a little while before he gets there, and Oscar isn't even going to bother. So, or at least it seems that way. Maybe catch happy as he does do the lurk thing. But it's so unintuitive here. The fact that Apex is just able to achieve so consistently playing this role right now on the T side for EnVyUs. Dropping down in towards CT and just trying to catch someone by surprise. And it always seems to be working for him thus far. Spitty's positioning yields him a kill. But obviously we already saw Oscar go down there while I was running my mouth a bit. So Spitty now as well with no options. Bomb too close to defusing for him to make an attempt. He's gotten 1 kill. He's going to have to be satisfied with that.
Yeah, pretty sure that's all you can really ask for at this point. But Envy, you've got to look at Apex there for creating that opportunity.
Just brilliant, really.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Just the 1
play.
kill, right? But that's really all you need to do.
Yeah.
Because then you've got Oscar who's smoked out on long, and that's the only player sort of really watching out. And the bomb went B anyway, so you throw the Mousesports into complete and utter disarray. Money, though, not quite stabilised in EnVyUs. Fortunately for them, it wasn't too nasty around casualty-wise. You can see that Kenny Esther has at least the AWP. Mousesports, though, can continue buying, and Oscar may even want to push on towards long. It's actually Nico at A. So they stack 3 players early towards A, Mousesports have here, but we'll eventually have to redistribute them. And it might just be the double play here over on short and make sure that at least Oscar can get a pick.
What a terrifying combo on short.
Oh, I mean, the whole, it's such a stacked site, really, if you think about it.
This is big for NKJ. He spots out the info. He's been kind of playing for that almost the whole time there, just playing that top, you know, upper B tunnels, waiting it out. The bomb's actually the back there, so it may have been, you know, a bit of a mid to B split that they were looking at early on. However, may not be the case now. He's had to fall away from that. They're a little bit more hesitant now. Here comes that deadly duo that should be able to kick into gear, and there it is coming through. Nico down to 28 HP, still makes the kill towards Kenny S. And is happy trying to pick up the mantle and the AWP as well. Backs off and resets things, but looks for more opportunities. Envy desperate to get a frag back at this point.
Beautiful from Nico. You know you're dead anyway. You're molly down to like half health, and to get up the stairs, you either expose yourself or you probably just keep burning. Spitty trying to go for a little bit of aggression here over on short. It's not going to pay off though, and now we have ourselves a 3 for 3 at least. Apex planning on going towards the A, or at least just a flash fade away to indicate maybe a move towards B, but no, it will be on towards this site for the moment now, and Dennis and Chris J will have to set up through CT again. A little bit of pressure to play from that position now as well. I think Apex dropped down. Apex dropped down, but Dennis actually managed to get in this time, and that's Oscar finding NKJ now happy in a 1v2.
Well, look, Oscar before looked to be struggling on that side. Now he's stabilized. Now he looks good here. He's fallen back perfectly. Dennis was the one to close it down. At the start, Oscar was quiet. Now he's getting louder. Now he's picked up the pace. That play on short, perfect. You know, this is lovely between him and Nico. This is what we want to see from these guys. It gives them so much more power to take on these players every single time. So gorgeous stuff from him, but I've got to say credit across the board here. You know, everyone at Mousesports is doing well. You look at B, Dennis Christian have been keeping that under wraps pretty nicely. Yeah. You look at A, you've got a lot of power. Spitty's been quiet for me. Haven't had to see him do too much at this point, and let's see if Oscar's going to do it again. Can he pull off something big here? A little overzealous on that.
Take a page out of Cage and B's book and go for a peek towards lower instead of towards top mid, because that's far riskier generally, and you can actually set up there quite quickly. But it doesn't work out. It's going to be Nico trading on short. This is not ideal at all for the CT side. Now Spitty going to be called upon here, gets himself 2. That may just be enough here at least. However, no one over at the A site. It's going to be Chris J and Dennis again have to rotate through. Now, The last round, Apex dropped on top of them there. That might be getting a little bit predictable. He's dead at the moment, so it's not a factor, but worth bearing in mind now as we see the rest of EnVyUs' hits towards his site. Smoke up, and NKJ about to face down 2 of his past teammates there. Oh, Blind going to go straight through here, and unfortunately the wall going to be pulled over his eyes, and he will be taken out of his misery.
All right, Happy, let's see. You take your time getting to the site, but now you're there. Can he keep this one close to hand? They do have a molly. That's going to be a problem. Pushes him out of position. He has to take the fight. He finds Dennis. He can't find Chris J, though. That was so close to being good there. But the bomb's fly for short. The defuse will come in. And Happy doesn't save the day.
I mean, that's pretty tough, though. And as a CT player as well, you have to navigate these situations quite carefully. It's like, right, well, we're both in CT now. We want to go to short, but we need to set up a situation where we don't give him a 1v1 or a chance to spray us both down. So I really like that from Mousesports. You just throw one into CT, a la Apex, and then one over on shore. And Happy, generally speaking, is going to be forced there into trying to, you know, spray transfer or do something wacky to pick them up if they're both dropping in positions where they can fire back at him. So super hard situation for Happy to win there, or for most players, to be fair. It was good for Mousesports to put the odds in their favour.
Yeah, if they get a nice 10-5 half, that'd be really, really lovely for them. At this point, Envy as well, their money's, as you highlighted, really far from perfect. Lots of utility. They've gone for that over the weapons pretty much at this point. They're only down to the tech 9s in the armor.
Apex.
And here we go. So boost up towards long, and Oscar going to fall back towards the car.
So I want to see what he does here. I mean, he only has a Tech 9, but I mean, that's still fine if you want to challenge like Batman, obviously jump down into CT. Nico would want to be ready for it. Most often, actually, Apex gets away with it because Nico's already rotated to the A site earlier, and it's someone else, like Spiddy or someone having to deal with it. But last time he tried to drop down, Mousesports were ready. So see if Dan the man can figure it out. It's going to be a flash down in towards CT. He is going to drop in. It's 2 players though here as well. Smoke behind him actually means that they get better coverage on this side and not being spotted from CT. So, I mean, good of EnVyUs. They've got control. Though.
Nico on short is a huge problem. Look how quickly he got there. They didn't particularly predict this, and they weren't expecting another. Dennis now gives away the game a little, but he does take down one on his way, that being Kenny S. Now the players from long should start kicking off, but it's actually Apex to find Chris J and Spiddy outnumbered and outgunned there now, leaving Dennis in the 1v2 burning, but does step away from the molly.
One bomb just getting planted now, Dennis with it all to do. It's a flash towards CT, which doesn't affect anyone on the side of Mousesports, and another one, just in case Apex is still sitting there, or someone perhaps, but no, Apex had already come around back towards the site. Catches Dennis as he pushes in, and it's 9 and 6 at the half here for Mousesports. EnVyUs, obviously very much going for these A hits, and, you know, we talked about Apex jumping down, getting a good advantage there on some of those rounds, but Mousesports, generally a very solid side there.
Yeah, it was really, really enjoyable, actually, from Mousesports for me to watch. Oscar going from, you know, okay form to really making an impact, made a big change. Sure. Nico joining him on Cat was really nice as well, starting to really lock it down. And the holds across the board were pretty nice. But as you said, the big defining factors, you know, Apex switched it up by just jumping down CT those couple of times. Those fast rotations to B off the back of it. You know, I quite enjoyed from both sides what we're seeing here, but it feels kind of in flux almost. No team settled into it just yet. So again, another half could be quite interesting.
I mean, that's obviously shown in the economy of both these 2 sides. But after the break, we're going to be back. It's the second half. EnVyUs are going to move to the CT side, and Mousesports with the lead on 9 will be on the T side. We'll see you soon. Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's Mousesports with 9 rounds here on the first half. Not having to dice with the devil today. It's going to be NKJ stepping in for EnVyUs, and only 6 rounds managed on the T side here for the boys in blue. Definitely not really the start they want going into CT here.
No, but, you know, it was a very volatile half, I felt. No team fully stabilized. So I think if one of them breaks ahead, gets that pistol, runs with it throughout, gets the economy building in their favor, we could see maybe something building off the back of it, of course. But, yeah, we'll have to find out how it goes down, because both teams, as said, had individual moments that really define things, change things throughout it. I don't think it was like this complete tactical play just yet.
Sure.
So 6-9, I think, pretty reflective of what we saw. But we do have the raid boss being created as we speak, with the Tech 9 being dropped out to a player with armor. And, well, yeah, EnVy gonna have to try and weather the storm on the CT side. Let's see what they have to bring to this.
And Mousesports, obviously Dust2, we know a lot about them on this map. We know what they can do. And the T side now led, of course, by Nico and Oscar, as often spearheads are in this case. Definitely could be quite deadly. Can you say a little bit of information early? Sees the Mousesports are in mid, doesn't really tell us much about their inclination towards either side at this stage, but still, keeping tabs is important. NBK, they're going to be challenged out there. Nice little work on towards Dennis. The headshot comes in, rings clear, and that will cut Mouse to 4.
EnVy are playing complete retake on it. They might be watching the cross, but that's about it. They have no one actively playing the site. So they'll take a couple of pot shots on the cross, and Apex gets punished incredibly hard, but still comes out on top. Oscar gets completely depleted off the map, and now the retake already starting to form. Kenny is happy going back into it. The bomb's now planted. Nico has to go full turret mode, and he can't do it. And, well, NBK just picks him up, puts him down, and there you go. Diffuse comes in, 4 alive. What a brilliant way of EnVy to play this one out.
Apex does not give us stuff. He gets dinged pretty darn hard by a Glock at long range, and obviously that's about 85 damage. He just turns around and dinks his opponent and kills him in one go. Nicely done. And obviously NBK chiming in when required. He's going to give that pistol round to EnVy. So very, very conceivable and possibly quite likely that we're going to see a 9-9 situation. Mousesports getting very little done for that round. EnVy going for the retake, as you said. Working, and they really don't have too many casualties coming in from that last round. So buying in here as well. Tech 9 being maintained for Kenny S for obvious reasons. Like that AWP in a couple of rounds' time. And obviously now SMGs, 2 UMPs, and it's going to be NBK on the M4.
All right. So pretty much coming into this one, for my eyes, is how costly can Nico make this? He's got a deagle, so you never really know, let's be honest. The ridiculous things he's pulled off with this sort of gun. But at the moment, it's free farm for EnVy. A couple of kills coming in already. One was towards the M4. It's not building up as much money as you'd want almost from that, so Happy's gonna be the one building that bank for them. And Nico gonna make his way up, gets flashed in. Well, Happy gets flashed in, shall I say, towards Cap. And Nico should have started to hit a couple of shots there, but Happy's gonna be just building up the money, simple as that, and a very easy, clean round for EnVy, and that's what you want, really. It's gonna make Mouse's money not perfect at this sort of point. Not gonna be looking at AWPs, really, at the, unless they want to go incredibly risky early on, which I can imagine they don't want to do. Utility, incredibly limited. When you don't get those kills, even if you're losing those first couple of rounds, if you don't get the kills as well to supplement some sort, you are down to bare bones.
You could easily have Chris J on a Tech 9 and actually give him a little bit more utility to work with. I think he only had a 3900, so he buys very, very skint now in this case. But just a flash for him, and Mousesports already now in towards lower dark. No one will be watching this from short for EnVyUs here, and there's a smoke in mid. So this allows Mouse just to traverse the map to a degree, unchallenged. Speedy will just be waiting on towards that long house. So Happy the first to receive this challenge. We'll have to drop off this box rather quickly now, as he will see Chris J come straight through. Wins the first duel, backs away, just what you want now, followed up with a grenade. Nicely done by Happy there, just dotting his I's and crossing his T's.
And he's going to actually go back for a little bit more info. So he now knows that mid's clear, at least on their side. Nico can kind of play back into this, but they have 2 smokes to play with now, and here comes the big exchange. That's going to at least split the CT side up a little bit.
It's costly.
4v4 is decent, but as you said, costly. Nico's down to 6 HP. Still has a smoke to play into this, so they could pretend it's that mid to B split. They could actually commit to it. That bomb's still over by B, so keep your eyes on that if you want to know where this one's going to end up.
I mean, Mousesports could definitely make use of more utility in this case, because the round time's going to get bled down quite a lot. EnVyUs still have, enough to stall with here. Apex doing just that. Smoke in now. Really, no realistic entry towards long unless they want to challenge through smoke against Apex here, and that may be the only choice that Mousesports is cut down to. That's never a good thing, especially when you're playing from, well, technically behind in the economic sense here. Not ideal. B site's probably not going to be tested at this stage, so they are going to try and push Apex. Flash comes in, Apex just turns it quite easily there and gets one. Trade comes out here, so not terrible for Mousesports. Still have a 3v3 situation, and it's going to be Kenny S coming in, bouncing the flash off the ground, but gets nothing for it there. A little bit uncharacteristic of that man, and Mousesports all very low, but still 3 guns in the game. That means a lot. NBK wants to challenge here from CT. Dennis just shuts him down. He puts the lid on and says, we'll see you next round, and NKJ wants to try and challenge from short. He gets one, it's Nico to fall now. A couple more ex-teammates to go through. Dennis falls, but Oscar will get to him. And that's EnVyUs squandering an opportunity to really start to stretch the lead or create one at the very least. But Mousesports chime back in just when they need to.
Yeah, that was... That exchange in mid opened things up for me so much. The fact that Nico was able to take down... it was happy at the time, just split the CTs completely. Then they focused on long. They overran that. Kenny S couldn't turn it at all with that Tech 9 diving in. It just didn't happen for him. So, Envy, as you said, missing out on a bit of a trick there. A little bit of a shame for them, I can imagine. But now Kenny S does have for himself at least the AWP. A little bit of a peek towards long. Did he not see the feed? Then I'm not sure. I think he's kind of considering, like, did I just see someone? I'm not certain on this. So again, just gonna keep a little bit of a tab on this. And a bit of a rarity to see an AWP pushed up this far almost, and this alone. There's no one there to trade with him or make anything else. So I think they just kind of got that in mind as Apex pulled himself up there as well. And okay, we'll commit to long and play retake on site at this point. That's what at least I'm thinking if they show this sort of hand.
Oh, this could be dangerous. Kenny has utter patience from the man, so he must have seen something to really give him cause to hang around for so long, but the jump across comes. Dennis really just taking care now. That's enough for Kenny has to say, all right, well, let's just close the book on this. We're going to throw out a smoke, but it might be Dennis to flash himself through. Molotov comes in, but that's quenched immediately. If I'm not mistaken, nicely done by Dennis. Opens up things on towards long, but Apex will be there to shut down and slow down as well as Spitty not going to test, but now the real action's happening on A. This was just a distraction, all a ruse as it were, as Happy gets the kill on towards Chris J, sees the bomb fly loose there as he does pick up one, tries to find the second, but now being sprayed down through the smoke. It's Nico to put a stop to that nonsense.
And the other two players are so far away from being able to make a quick bit of impact. They're still going to try and do something with this, but I don't know how much they can get done. We'll find out pretty much right about now. NKJ is just going to go for a run at it. Almost to the side. What a shot as well. Finds Oscar. And now 1v2. He doesn't have a rifle at this point. There is an AK on the side he can pick up, but Nico wants to keep him away from him, but he tags him up too. NKJ, what a big performance from this man. Considering he's stepping in as, the replacement for Devil here. He almost did wonders in that round, and I think he knows he's hit the limit of what's possible, what's capable. No kit, of course, so backs away, he gets the AK. But for him, really well played there. This guy's showing aim, he's showing capability, but obviously not to the same standards as his teammates.
So this forward positioning for Kenny S now towards A long probably needs to come to an end, because he probably now has put 2 and 2 together and realizes Mousesports don't care if he smokes it. They're going to flash themselves through the smoke anyway and challenge, at least with maybe 1 to 2 players, and get themselves a favourable trade. Obviously, he did go 1 for 1 there, and then Mousesports brought the second player on. So a change of tact may be required, but that's, assuming Kenny S even has an AWP, and of course it's not going to be the case in this round. NKJ brings the salvaged AK, keeps it for himself, no less here. He'll be taking that over towards the B side, and it looks like Mouse initially are heading in that direction.
I was wondering if there's any, if there's a bit of aggression there coming out, and NBK looked like he was going towards it, but just hops up on towards the on the boxes there. He can just jump himself up and watch that one. It's NKJ, who's the only one in my eyes who can really turn this around. Everyone else has the upgraded pistols. I guess that's something, but it's going to be tough for him to find the best place to play this. Again, where do you put yourself? It's a gamble. It's a risk. It's just that, do I make the assumption they're going to go back towards A? They've been hitting A a lot. Do I just try and sit in the middle, try and get a pick here? And look at Mousesports, the approach they're having to this round. Very cautious, very slow, very methodical, clearing out as much as they can.
Chris J as well, very rare. You saw him on the min-map there as well, very wary of any aggression coming in towards tunnels. That's often where it does come from. If, your CTs get a little bit antsy and want to see you try and find a little bit more information. But NBK with only a CZ, I think, to his name at this stage. No, actually, it's a P250, but he won't be pressuring on that at all here. NKJ wants to try and play the long-range game. And Mousesports now, it's going to be a split mid to B here. They've got Dennis and Nico coming up towards NKJ's left. That flash comes in, is more of a warning sign, but it's not going to give him an opportunity to address the situation because he can't see. Dennis comes in for 2. Single-handedly cuts that side open on his own now. Spitty, and with Kenny S in the mid, just never going to be more than a trade, unfortunately, there for the Frenchman. And this will be EnVyUs' pistol round shut down.
And that was atrocious from NKJ. He was in the right place as well. He just did absolutely nothing with it. So, oh well.
Yeah, I mean,
that's just how it goes.
He was
but
pivoting. He was in a decent pivot spot in mid there, but I think if he got challenged out, he would have been pop flashed to into oblivion anyway if he was there when Mouse pushed it. So
yeah, bit of a shame, but oh well. When you're stepping in, you just do the best you can. Like look at what happened with Zonic and Astralis, of course. Look at so many occasions where this has had to happen, and it's not pretty to watch. It's not the best CS that you're going to get to see, but
he still had like one of the top ratings or like some of the top stats for anyone at that tournament. Zonic did like headshots or something. I don't know. Like gave a good account of himself, but this is very different situations, right? Yeah, the 1.6 pistol, boys.
That's it. It came through. All right, so into the one. Look at the economy that we've got really being displayed here is the fact that Mousesports has so much to play with. Mollies, flashes, smoke. They can build whatever they want to, but they just take a straight up clean fight. Oscar feeds himself to the machine. Happy's going to take that willingly. 2 kills for him. Dominates mid, and there's an AWP if they want it too. Something they've not been able to quite get their hands on yet into this round, of course, as their money a little depleted. Turns the flash well, can't land the shot. Spitty's going to find it, and now that's big. Chris J opens up B as there's bombs coming in. They have 3 players against the mid, 2, and for Kenny S, it might be time to look to just try and find that AWP.
I don't hate this for Kenny from EnVyUs, by the way. I mean, it's a natural response to a mid to B play. You just try and stack mid and get good trades, but it's not working out in the end because they left the B site a little bit bare. I mean, you have to leave one of the sites bare if you want 2 in mid, but you know the right decision here. Apex, the hero of the moment, trying to come in from the backside, but no, Dennis will shut him down. Nothing doing there for the Flying Frenchman, who definitely had a bit more success over on the T side, but he was able to dictate the flow of the gameplay. Now he has to play reactive. It's not a comfortable position to be in, and this economy also not in a great spot.
No, it's really not. And at this point, you're almost be playing with match point against you, unless they do something quite miraculous at this point. You know, we did see a couple of those rounds going back and forth when we had the pistols coming out before. Kind of random, kind of you can't bank on, kind of, you know, pistols are super balanced, of course. Absolutely detest them, but yeah, Molly's coming out from Mousesports. They should be able to clear out a lot of these corners, kind of go in, not lose out on players, essentially, is what you're looking at here from Mousesports. And look how passive they are, waiting to see if there is CT aggression coming out, and Happy is going to play into this. Now, if he lands a shot, this could have been big, but now will they expect the second? That's the difference maker. There's Kenny going to try and do something with it, but will be found in the end by Oscar, so no guns to be recovered, nothing to be found from this just yet.
Mousesports correct to play that one a little bit slower. If EnVyUs been able to get away with that one, just the one pick would have been decent information if they got to look around the corner and a decent trade. But now, with 3 players, they have to distribute them very thinly over the map.
And I like the way that Chris just took the time to remove the rifle that was actually dropped, throw it over the wall, so it's not recoverable for EnVy. So they want to very meticulously keep their money down in any way, shape, or form. So they're not even leaving small windows of opportunity.
Well, the man to receive this push will be NKJ. At least Apex is set there as well. So setting up some crossfires, but that doesn't work out well when I guess the main part of your crossfire goes down so early. Dennis has been very, very good at responding to immediate threats in these last few rounds here, especially when getting jumped on for retake attempts on the bomb site by EnVyUs. Just really, really sharp from him. NKJ as well, just getting forced further and further back into the woodwork. And Nico just going to solidify that by pinning him there with a bullet. So NBK looking for a gun. Well, we saw what happened earlier on. We saw it thrown over the back. He's not getting anything from this round.
Nope. It is
Sad,
just
boys.
over the edge.
There it is.
Wah, wah, wah. Yeah, exits are all you can pray for at this point in his mind. What else are you going to do here? 3 players on long, so he actually might have someone to try and make it, you know, a little more costly maybe, but...
No, it's not a crossfire per se.
Not really, but someone's going to be watching it. And what's the money like for Mousesports? They're perfectly fine to drop people out. Well, you know, not perfectly fine. It's not the best in the world. You've got Oscar on a bit of a low amount of money, but... They can reinvest, they can rebuy here. There you go, that's about as well. Is this going to go?
That was close.
USPS versus AWP. Probably not going to go too well, and Mousesports will get to 14-8 now. EnVy going to put everything into this round. Look at this, double AWP's going to come out. You've got MBK and Kenny S actually running at the moment. On the other side of things, Spitty can buy what he wants. You know, the money is still fine for Mousesports. They're perfectly well set at this. Again, this has to be the final stand from EnVy though.
Yeah, this is really confident Mousesports. So if you're Kenny S, yeah, don't challenge Longhouse really. He's going towards mid, both AWPs in mid actually. So just in case there was a challenge coming from someone like Oscar, they may be able to shut it down or again get themselves a 1-for-1. But that's not going to be the case. So Kenny S at least gets, this is a pretty decent position for an AWPer, by the way. Like an early peek in towards lower tunnels. I mean, you can see the player, get a bit of information, and get that first pick would be amazing. But now he has to leave that alone. This might open Mousesports up to attempt to mid to B, at least now knowing what they're up against or what they're dealing with. Obviously flashing and overwhelming an AWP player in mid. Not the hardest thing to do when you've got a few teammates with you, but See Spitty, Dennis is just behind him here, so still fairly passive positioning towards any potential aggression from Longhouse. Flashes and mollies come in here from mid. It looks like they're just going to make it so no one can sneak up on them. Short might be the next order of business here as Oscar is tickled by some shrapnel.
Yeah, and well, Kenny is kind of baiting that there's no one on cat, almost takes a shot and backs away quite visibly or audibly as well. Plays in happy. He gets to kind of run with it now. Spots out the second player. That being Nico, they adjust. Look at the difference now as to what EnVy are doing. They're really switching things up on A. They expect the mid to be response here, but now they need to be careful. They can't overread this. Apex and Kenny might have trouble in their hands. 3 players coming through on long. Dennis, Chris J already down. Spitty splits off. This is still very much up in the air. 30 seconds though. They've got to make this one pretty much count right about now.
Yeah, Mousesports have to push through the smoke, but Kenny doesn't care. He sees straight through it. Bomb goes loose, and Dennis is going to shut him down, but it's just 1v4 at this stage. Dennis, well, gets himself an AK in hand, but won't be really getting too much further. I like the fake smoking towards CT. I like the implication of a mid to B, but it was Mousesports really just bluffing, and they were cut down on the real part of their push. It was towards long. Now, Apex won't have to shift here. He'll be able to wait for this push coming around the corner. It should be easy as that, but Dennis, no, not the other one. Okay, and BK was low, but he had an AWP, at least able to secure that situation. But that's EnVyUs digging deep in their pockets for money. They spent a heck of a lot. They've got the double AWP saved in here, but it's a very flimsy economy still.
Yeah, it's so far from good. Let's see what they can afford. I don't know what Apex can even get here. I don't know if someone else was able to drop him out or if that's it. I think that's literally all he can get.
Yeah, he went for utility.
He has been playing kind of like a supporting role along and actually taking up MBK to start with. Not a bad way to kick things off here. Still has the AWP, so he's still okay at this point. Still kind of operating just fine. On the other side, Mousesports still really well for money. Still sitting perfectly comfortable with the full purchase here as much as they'd want to. But obviously didn't have the cleanest of rounds last time around, so let's see what they can do with this. NKJ, I'd love to see him get a little aggressive towards tunnels.
Yeah, I mean, they did spot Nico there earlier on. It was NBK forced away by his presence, so now obviously trying to go for the one and done, get a pick with the AWP, but no, Flash comes over the top, and Mousesports don't need to capitalise on that. That in itself has sort of been enough now to award NBK right back to B. So just a couple things here Mousesports are doing that are dictating on a larger scale the movements of EnVyUs. They are going to continue with this mid push now. Flash came in for happy, not going to win the challenger. Oscar at the 4, that's a great opening, but again, Mousesports back up a little bit and weigh up their options.
Well, ideally, you want to see if there's a response from the CT side. You know, has someone tried to push up really quickly off the back of that? Is there anyone trying to play up long to try and recover that kill, bring it back to an even situation? Not actually the case. EnVy have hit the brakes, you know, dug in pretty deep. Apex playing on the edge of that smoke could be a difference maker. There's 3 players there, but he only has that pistol. So, again, not perfect for this one, but Kenny against Oscar, but it is all out long, and long goes all Mousesports' way. And now Kenny is surrounded from either side. Short pressure, long pressure. He's going to have to come up with something big.
And the Molotov comes down as well. He's going to be forced into some fast footwork, but no, it's going to be Chris eventually picks him up there. And NBK looking over towards CT. There is one off towards his right side, in towards mid, but he's not going to hang around. It was Nico up on towards that short part of the map. So again, this has to be EnVyUs just backing away. They managed to at least keep their hands on an AWP and an M4 for NKJ, and it looks like they're just going to hedge their bets against that. They will be playing for overtime at the very best here, but that's about all they can achieve, as Mousesports have definitely outgained them on this one. NBK was drawn back and forth from mid to B multiple times, and Mousesports just dipping their toes in the water and coming up with a nice juicy mackerel every time. Definitely be happy with that, as it is pretty much the minimum of investment and the maximum of reward for this side.
The thing is that if you looked at this, and let's say this round went a bit of a different way, Mouse's money was being worked out, you know, really worked down. They'd started to deplete that real nice bank they'd built up in a couple of rounds back to back, but they are fine, perfectly stable here, and they can easily reinvest for Oscar. They even saved that up across as well, so even better for them. Nico can just buy up towards the AK. On the other side of things, though, it's a complete polar opposite. You've got the weariest economy. You've got just upgraded pistols now with those 2 remaining guns they're able to bring over from that prior round. So it's down to MBK, down to Apex in my eyes, to make the big difference plays here. They have to be the ones at the forefront to make something happen.
That's the real BDP, isn't it? That's the one we're looking for in this round. Big difference play. EnVyUs there. It's going to be MBK just flashing over there towards the tunnels. And well, a lot of Mousesports players are caught up in there, and Oscar's hoping for just an early peek. This time MBK wasn't tagged on the cross, so he can maybe afford to commit a little bit more to some of these situations. Mousesports aren't in a hurry thus far. There'll be the smoke to come out and give them a little bit easier passage, and that shot very, very close for NBK, not connecting now. He'll need to wait on the inevitable tide of players from Mousesports streaming onto B.
Smoke? Yeah, they're boosting the smoke. That's beautiful. That gives Oscar the angle now, so he can watch this. And MBK's surely going to re-peek it at some point, but it's all about timing now and who spots who first. And I don't think MBK's aware of this yet. He's been cautious, but not cautious enough. He may have seen the plan, he may have known what was happening, but Oscar still hits the shot first. And now EnVy are in trouble. That was one of the 2 weapons they'd carried over, gone.
It's all starting to unravel now for Team EnVyUs. Dennis coming in through mid, catches Kenny S mid-rotate. NKJ forces his way on towards the side, gets 2 kills there with the 5-7. There are still more players for him to deal with, but Apex is helping out in that regard. He's now going to push himself out through the door, but Dennis shuts him down. Now Apex in a 1v2. Got to come all the way down from middle. And has a flash at least to work with the smoke if he really wants to go that way. But time will be ticking against him now. Doesn't have himself a kit. Won't pick one up from any fallen comrades. Almost caught with his pants down there. The smoke grenade in his hands. But Dennis also opts to back away. The Molotov comes in. Well, that's a shut door if I've ever seen one, Lauren. Apex will just have to wait this one out. Again, no kit, I repeat. He's going to have to be quick, flash himself in, but Oscar catches him as he comes through. And Mousesports complete an impressive win here, continuing a good streak of performances on Dust2.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone's too surprised we saw a good game from Mousesports. Considering the Devil was not here, they had to have NKJ step in. EnVy was already operating at a loss. And then you add to the fact of that, well, normally when these two meet, it's already been a close matchup as it was with their full-ish rosters, you know what I mean? The real stand-ins, if there are any, you know, during ECS. This was actually a Mousesports victory on Dust2. So even under regular circumstances, this is going to be a close game. You add in a real curveball for EnVy there, as in you have to get a player to stand in for you. It's not going to go well. Even that difference of one player can make a big difference, but overall, Mousesports had a really nice performance.
Yeah, I mean, we're only halfway through this 2 best-of-1s, but Mousesports already go to 8-5 and looking like a very solid contender here for the playoffs in the latter part of the season. But before we get to that, let's pass to the desk with Alex and the boys and break it down.
Matt, I just saw you put your headset on. I saw you do that deliberately. It upsets me.
I like it a lot.
I'm trying to be like you, Alex.
You're in ESL. You can't take the mickey out of me. What if I've got like a weird hair disorder that makes me have like a little flu foot?
Is that a thing?
This thing.
I was actually trying to replicate your bangs.
I think it might be. Apparently I have a double crown.
Yeah, me. Well, I had similar thing. Yeah.
Do you have your
we call it a crown too. See, this is how you know we're part of the Commonwealth because we actually have royalty. Everyone else calls it like a vortex
we all
or
have
whatever.
the queen on our notes.
All right, and we've just got new notes, which
and
are
we've got the
waterproof.
queen on the desk.
Hey. Yeah.
I thought it was me. No, not me.
I'm gonna. How long do I cop? I gotta come up with banter at some point, I guess.
No, don't do banter.
Don't do banter.
No, banter.
All right, let's talk about that really
rise
exciting game.
above us.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. There's banter's for losers.
Should we talk about Counter-Strike?
Well, it seems like you were really upset that we didn't get to see the full EnVy force there. You're kind of sitting there going, well, they were going to struggle with full 5, and they didn't even have that.
Yeah, I just think they're pretty underwhelming lately.
Yeah.
Mousesports are really good lately, and then the whole substitute thing doesn't make for such a great matchup.
That was enthralling. So basically, it did seem like Sponge was a little underwhelmed by not only EnVy but also Happy. You didn't get to finish your description of this.
I don't want to go. I don't want to go into it now because
there's
the substitute thing. It doesn't make it as if it was the
exciting.
full roster, I could get real stuck in.
Okay,
but now I feel like I'm picking on him and I shouldn't.
We'll bottle it up.
Okay.
And we'll drop it another time.
We'll do it on the weekend.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah, let's do that.
We're going on a little holiday to...
Can you guys talk about your personal plans another time? I want to talk about Counter-Strike.
Right,
Well,
okay,
tell me what you
Matt.
think was the best part of that match.
I actually didn't watch it.
Yeah.
No, I did. I think, honestly, the best part of that match was that you pointed out a round when Oscar and Nico died early, and then what happened?
They still won the round, and we were very impressed by that, actually.
Yeah.
I thought it was really good that Mousesports were still able to win rounds when those two players weren't fragging, and on that T side, it was really great to see Dennis getting entry frags. That guy was getting entry frags like every second round. It was great.
Yeah, we saw like I think it was like 3 rounds in a row. There was one where you just walked out long and challenged Kenny or the AK.
Yeah, he didn't
that
even
was
care, straight
nuts.
to the smoke.
Yeah. But then you also had a lot of credit to Apex. I think you were singing his praises in a couple of entries into A.
He did a really good job as well, and like he's known for that. And the way that when they do the drop down from short, he does it really well. He rarely dies, and he always makes the player aim at him and gives his teammates lots of room to move.
Yeah, because I mean, it does seem like would you say that that's kind of a must-have in your T strat book to have that drop to CT to
Yeah,
on
I think
your
that's
execute?
very important.
Right.
Like we were talking about yesterday, I think it was. It opens up multiple angles. You can do it with you can do it, and you can even like start to fake it and drop a player into the city spawn. Get a bit tricky about it.
I think the addition of the double smoke as well. So a lot of teams when they do it, because obviously you're trying to throw off the AWP first and foremost to get a second angle onto him. But if you put this, so you have the smoke at the bottom towards CT. If you put a second one at the top of the ramp, Or what a lot of teams are doing
top of the
now,
ramp,
and we
you mean
saw
on the cross?
Well, we used to do it on the cross. So CT, the T's would throw it, so then you drop between the two smokes, and then you recovered. It was up to you, depending on which way you're being pushed from, that you could respond. As opposed to having one smoke, you only have one way to go. But then we're seeing teams also switch it, and we're seeing it a lot in Pro League. It's like something that just showed up over the summer break, and I don't even know where it came from. But we saw Michael do it with Nip, is bouncing that smoke to actually, instead of covering, if this is CT spawn, the cross,
The
you're
bridge.
covering long. Not the bridge, you're covering
so
long.
you
So
can't
you
die
actually
from pit and
isolate.
stuff. Yeah.
So you push the op back behind that smoke, then
Yeah.
you get the op behind it. Even if you don't take long, the secondary rifle's there, and you at very least get a bomb plant down because of it. And I think that the drop player still has a huge like factor in that, because he again has to be the one to push the op. He's the one that has to get down and force the op away from that angle.
Yeah, well, despite Apex's best efforts, it was a very much one-sided affair. Mousesports continued their reign of terror. It's going to be 2 days back-to-back where they haven't not dropped a map. We'll see if they can make it the full 4 as we do return from the break. We're going to be having a little dive into Mirage. That's what you have to look forward to here between Mousesports and EnVy. Unfortunately, we haven't got to see EnVy with their full 5-man roster, but maybe they can find footing nonetheless over on our final map of the evening. So do stay tuned, and before we do go ahead and check out how NK did do and all the other good stuff over at the Score Esports application. You know what it is. Go grab it, and we'll be back after the break with our final map. I love you, Matt.
I love you too. I just like to make fun of you when I can.
See you later.
Bye.